Gymnastics parents, do you want to help your gymnast compete with confidence? If so, this session is for you. Welcome to Mindset for Moms, where we help moms develop happy, healthy gymnasts who know how to win. So, this month, we're talking all about competing with confidence. And here's the little kick. It's actually really difficult to compete with confidence because confidence usually means I've done this a lot in the past, and so I know that I can do it now. And with meets, it's really hard to build that evidence, that bank of evidence for your brain to feel confident at a meet. So instead, we try to really help our gymnasts work on feeling self confident. And self confident is this ability to know that you're going to be able to handle whatever happens. So you can't know that it's going to go well because you haven't had enough evidence to show that you're going to be able to do it consistently every single time. There's just not enough meets in the season for your brain to get there. And every meet feels different. And so instead, we're going to build this belief that you can handle whatever happens. If it doesn't go well, you're going to be able to handle it. If it goes well, you're going to be able to handle it. If you have a slight mess up, you're going to be able to handle it. If the judge gives you a bad score and you're upset about it, you're going to be able to handle it. So we really work on helping develop self-confidence. And the foundation of self-confidence we talked about last week. Today we're talking about pillar number 1. So pillar number 1 in self-confidence is the belief that you can trust yourself to do what you say you're going to do. This one is so hard to develop, right? There's so many times, especially for gymnasts, when they are thinking about trusting themselves to go for a skill and their body gets stuck in that fight or flight and they freeze and they feel like they're out of control of their body. They start really eroding trust in themselves to be able to do what they say they're going to do. And so, one of the ways that we really like to help them redevelop that trust is doing it in small ways over time. And so, some examples of doing it is just that idea of coming through for yourself in the daily grind and doing what you say you're going to do even when it's uncomfortable, even though you'd rather not. So fueling your body with the food that you said you were going to fuel it with. A lot of times gymnasts kind of go and they're like, oh well, I'm not hungry, and so then they don't fuel their body with enough food to actually get through a meet, or oh, I'm too nervous to eat, or those kinds of things. So fueling their body, going to bed when they say they're going to go to bed and getting enough sleep to actually be rested, showing up when they say they're going to show up, doing their conditioning when they say they're going to do their conditioning, going and then this helping them, this idea that they can go for their skill when they say they're going to go. And so one of the things I love to tell them, especially if they're struggling with the mental block, they almost always know, like they're standing at the end of the vault runway or they're standing there ready to go. They usually know when they're standing there that they're not going to go. They have a sense of it. And so I tell them, when you have that sense, step aside, regather yourself, get your brain on board instead of going and then not going. Because when you go and you balk, you continue to develop that lack of trust in yourself. When you know you're going to balk, just step aside. And and help your brain know that when you say you're going to go, you're going to go. But that one's a big one. It can be, sometimes we have them start with silly, easy things like, I'm going to go get a glass of water and then I get one. I'm going to put on my grips. I'm going, and just telling their brain all day long the things they know they're going to do, telling their brain they're going to do them and then doing them. And this helps develop their brain to trust that they do what they say they're going to do. And the more they work on developing that trust of doing what they say they're going to do, the easier it's going to be to believe that at a meet. So then when they start having that self-confidence, it's like, I know that I always do what I say I'm going to do. And so therefore, when I say I'm going to hit, I'm going to hit. When I say I'm going to go for this routine, I'm going to go for this routine. When I'm going to go for this skill, when I'm going to work on my technique, when I'm going to give my brain instructions, all those kinds of things, they're going to do that. So, how do you do that? Because this is hard, right? I mean, how many times are we like, I'm gonna, as parents, like I'm gonna lose weight. I'm gonna follow this very strict diet, and then we don't do it. Or I'm gonna start getting up early, and then we don't do it. And so we build that, erode that trust with ourselves. And one of the reasons that we do that is because we set the bar for perfection, or for like, I know these are all the things I would want to be doing. So let's say it's weight loss. I know these are all the things I would want to be doing, or just healthy, being healthy. Like I want to be exercising. I want to get up early, but I want to get plenty of sleep, but I want to keep a clean house, but I want to, and we like set the bar so high that we set ourselves up to fail. And so one of the ways to build this trust to do what you say you're going to do is make a doable plan. Don't don't set yourself up to fail. Don't tell yourself and make a commitment to yourself that you're going to do something that you know you're not going to be able to follow through with. When you make plans, plan with compassion for that future self who's going to have to do that in the moment. I always do this with flights. I'm like, I'll be able to get up at 4 in the morning and fly all day and then arrive and, do a dinner and then do meetings for 3 days. Like, and then I'm like, what did I do to myself? So just being able to tell yourself the truth about what you're going to be able to handle doing. And when you're trying to make changes, making one small change at a time. And so for you, encouraging your gymnast with that. Gymnasts tend to be perfectionists. So when they tell themselves what they're going to do, it's always with the idea of doing it perfectly. And then when they don't, they erode their trust with themselves. And so I get coached also in mindset, life coaching. I have a life coach, business coach, and she often is like, I'm like, well, I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this. And she usually is the one that has to kind of bring me back down and be like, that's a lot to ask of yourself. Maybe you will do that. That would be amazing. But what's something that you feel really doable? Like something that feels really doable, not like you have to push yourself to do. Let's plan for that. And then if you do all the extra stuff, that's awesome. Let's plan for the actual doable plan. And so you can be that voice of reason for your perfectionistic gymnast, where she's like, well, I'm going to go today to work out and I'm going to hit, 10 for 10, and I'm going to go for that skill I've been bulking on, or I'm going to go to this meet and I'm going to get, 4 10s, and just being able to be like, okay, that sounds great. And if that happens, that's amazing. I'm all for it. But what's doable for you this day, this weekend, with where you're at now? Let's commit to that so that you can continue to build trust with yourself. So, first step, first pillar is building trust with yourself to do what you say you're going to do by creating doable plans, by creating realistic compassion for yourself, by telling yourself that you're going to do stuff that you already know you're going to do, and really building that relationship of trust with yourself that you always do what you say you're going to do. All right, next week we go over pillar number 2. So see you there.